Unspoken Travels, we're going our way.
Unspoken Travels delves into the often overlooked stories of foreigners facing unexpected challenges upon arriving in the USA. These narratives encompass heartbreak, disappointment, and encounters with obstacles such as bureaucratic hurdles, societal rejection, and in some instances, abuse leading to homelessness. However, the show also highlights the resilience and determination that enable them to overcome adversity and ultimately thrive.
Welcome to Unspoken Travels. Today's episode, we conceal the face of our guests in order to protect family relations. My name is Victor St. Louis. Pelv, let's get started. Tell me, where you originally from?
Trinidad.
And what made you want to come to the U.S.?
Well, it first started with a series of break-ins at my home, over and over. I had to keep starting over. So I just got fed up and decided to start a new life in the U.S.
Okay. And what year was that?
2006.
2006.
Mm-hmm.
And where did you come to, family or friends?
I first came to a friend's house
Okay.
in Queens.
So did you come to stay or just was vacation?
Well, I first came for 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to try out to see how it would be. And that 6 months was 6 months of disaster.
Tell us.
The most unhappy 6 months.
Tell me about it.
Because everybody has a concept that it's the land of milk and honey. When you come to America, everything is paved to be good. But they only find out when they reach the challenges that they would face.
So you said, so how many people were in that household at that time when you came?
About 5.
5 persons, how much bedrooms?
2.
2 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So where were you resting?
My space was in the living room on the floor with just a sheet on the floor, and I had to sleep there.
Uh-huh.
So my intentions was, as soon as I reach here, start to work, because I didn't want to depend on anybody for anything. So I stayed about 3 weeks before I got a job.
Okay.
And
what job did you get?
the first job I get was like a home health aide.
A what?
Home health aide.
Okay, good.
And I was there like 6 days for the week on the job, 1 day at the person's house.
So, getting that job, I mean, tell me some. Were you documented?
Not at the
the
time.
time?
Not at that time.
Oh, okay, so you were working off the books.
Off the books.
Okay, continue.
But the thing about it is, the 3 weeks before I got that job, it was like, when I left Trinidad, I called the person and asked, I have my visa, I would like to come, I do have a place. And she says, sure, you could come, I would like to get to know you, use my nephew's mother, I would like to get to know you. The first night, it was good. The first couple days, it was okay. But after that, I never know people would hide sugar from somebody to use in big America. Everything was hide away.
So why do you think that happened? Were you like a lot of sweets? You abused the sugar? Why? I don't understand. Tell me.
Well, at first she didn't hide the sugar from me. It had a next lady there. But it was an older lady that we had known from Trinidad, a very nice lady, and like she didn't have a place to stay, and she came there to stay too.
So, where you were staying, that person had how many kids?
Her children was in Trinidad. It was just her and her husband at the house. But
and then you said 5 of you guys were
her mother was there, her brother was there, and the lady from Trinidad.
And how many persons at that time was employed?
Just her mother, her husband, and I.
So 3 persons and 2 not working. So it probably was kind of tough. I
Her
assume.
mother was living. She used to stay at her job for 2 weeks, then come out
So you used to come
for
home
one
every
weekend.
afternoon,
I used to come home on a Sunday when I started to work.
and she was still hiding the
One
sugar.
day. Well, I wasn't there, but when I now reached, that is what she was doing, hiding away everything.
So it's not because of you drinking the sugar, it's because the sugar was being hidden before you came.
Yeah.
So you never had nothing.
It wasn't just like sugar, it was just like
Most of the
everything.
stuff.
Everything.
Right.
So the thing about it was, you only realize these simple little things that you wouldn't expect people to do. For example, like when I reach home from work, she said the room that I was staying in, sleeping in the corner of the floor, I have to give her $150 every time I come home, right?
150.
$150. So she
But
said,
you had any idea how much was the rent at that time?
no, I didn't. She said, you say you put on the lights when you come in the room, right? Well, you have to pay for that. When you pick up the phone to make a phone call, although you're using a card, you get a dial tone, right? You have to pay for that. You use a curling iron to curl your hair, well, you have to pay
Lights.
for the electricity,
Right.
right? I wasn't allowed to cook nothing in her kitchen.
So how you ate?
I have to buy food.
Mhm.
It was rules and regulations. So it was very difficult. So
So how long you stayed at that?
I stayed there 3 months.
3 months. What made you left?
Everything that, like she used to go to this church. You have to do everything she wanted to do. You have to go to church. You have to this. You have to that. You know, like she turned you into a little child because you're at her house staying. You have to do everything. The floor that I was sleeping on in the living room, when you turn off the lights, the entire place is roaches. When you put on the lights, there's roaches everywhere. As soon as you turn off the lights, the whole place covered. So,
So-
imagine
What part of Brooklyn was that?
Winthrop
Winthrop.
Street or road
Was
or
it the
whatever.
projects or a regular home?
A regular apartment building.
Okay.
So imagine I leave my whole big house in Trinidad, and this was a 6 months I came up for, and I reach up here to the reality of all of this. I used to be crying all the time.
So you came for 6.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed at her house for 3.
Right.
Where you moved in after that?
I went to New Jersey by a friend of mine, aunt.
So you went from a friend to another friend.
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience?
That experience was a little different. The only thing is, I had to do everything in the house. She didn't take any money from me, but I had to do everything in the house
Like,
and all the housework, help wash, help do this, help do that, and braid her 5 sons here,
you're lucky to be in a house with only 5 persons though.
5 boys,
Mm.
plus she and her husband. I had to do their hair, do everything in the house. But
So
it
when
was,
you went to her house, you wasn't employed.
no, she used to give me like the weekend of her job. She had a job for 5 days, and then she used to let me do the weekends of it.
Okay.
But she didn't take any money from
And
me.
how long you stayed at her house?
The other 3 months
And
for the
then what
6.
you did after that?
Back to Trinidad.
Oh, okay. And then
Then I stayed in Trinidad for 8 months and came back up in 2006.
so with all that drama for 6 months, what made you still want to come back to the US?
Because when I went back to Trinidad for the 8 months, they broke into my home like 3 times within the 8 months, back to back to back. I had to keep buying, starting over, you know.
So when you came back, who did you go by?
I was with somebody in Trinidad. I went by his mother in Queens.
So you had no family here.
No, I am here, no family, no mother, father, brother, sister.
And how was it at
By
that?
that place, it was more or less the same, because this woman had a little son, and I had to be the nanny, the housekeeper, the everything in the house before I started to work. I was in a room wide like this, where she had everything. I bought a bed and a dresser, and this, I wasn't working. I didn't work for the first month of being there. She never said, Cheryl, she never said, look, I sent to do anything. But I was taking care of her son.
Right, but I guess she tells herself, you're at her house. She's providing.
But I was taking care of her son. Getting up every morning early, get him dressed for school, take him to school, pick him up from school, do homework, get him dinner every single day for the month. Okay, so I get a job. I was coming out once a week too, a living job. And I had to pay her $200 for the room, same way. So I stayed there exactly 6 months. Then I moved to Brooklyn and I got a room.
Okay, tell me about that.
That room was like a castle, because it was my own home. I had no windows or nothing. I don't know whether it's day or night, but I didn't care.
Did you miss home?
I missed Trinidad, but the circumstances that I left with, I wasn't eager.
So you can deal with the break-ins?
No.
But you couldn't deal with the behavior of persons you were staying by either?
But you see, once you make the decision to come to stay, whatever you meet, you have to face it, because you already made that decision.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
You understand? So you have to fight, especially when you're in my situation where you have no mother, father, brother, sister to turn to. It's I and God.
So when you saw, like watching movies, being in Trinidad and seeing all beautiful America, you thought you were coming to...
The thing is, I never even thought that. I just wanted, like, I had the visa 2 years before I traveled, and I just wanted to have a comfortable place. That's why I never used it. I wanted to come in a comfortable place that I could be happy. So I was scared.
So how many years it took you to get off your feet?
Well, when I leave Queens and I came to Brooklyn in the room, I spent like a few months in that room. Then I went to 2 rooms. Then I went to an apartment. I always wanted more. I never wanted to settle in one little thing and be comfortable with it, because I feel like I made the sacrifice, so let me make the best of it. Let me make the best of this sacrifice. So
you came in 2006. Are we in 2024 now? What could you say to persons who come in from the islands? What could you say to them, to let them know exactly what they're going to be faced in when they come to the States?
You see, the thing about it right now, people in Trinidad, they hurt so much, right? They have an idea of what they might face. But a lot of people think, they watch TV, they listen to things, and they think it's just so easy. If you don't prepare to fight, to make you focus on what you come up here for, and you fight to achieve it. I wouldn't deter nobody from coming, because everybody's experience will be different. Some people could come in by their family and go into a very happy home where the family will help them in everything they want to achieve.
So what you think, why people react that way? I mean, and the persons you've been by, they're all from Trinidad also? So what do you think transpired that to get it?
The first wicked one, she was just wicked, because it wasn't me alone she was wicked to.
I don't want to laugh, but I mean...
She was just wicked to everybody.
So the second one now?
The one in Queens, she wasn't malicious. She was just like circumstances had her that way because she had to pay her husband to stay there. She had to pay a rent. So it was like the $200 from me was helping her in her payment of the rent. So she wasn't really malicious. But you see the one in Brooklyn, she was bad.
You ever saw it after that?
Yeah.
You
It was my son's aunt. The thing is, I forgive her and move on. But what I said to myself, I would never put my foot back in her house. I didn't care if I had to go under a bus shed.
So if someone called you at this time, say, listen, I want to try out in the United States, I want to come to the States, could I stay by you? What will be your response?
Well, let me tell you, I always had it in mind that I would never like nobody to experience the bad experience I had, right? So when I was in the room, many people called, I want to come up, I have no place to stay. I used to invite everybody, come, come to the
And sleep
room.
where? If it's a one room.
We used to share the same bed because I just wanted people to be comfortable, to have a place that they could be comfortable. Even now, if somebody call me where I'm not in a room, I'm in a little better position, I always welcome people because my experience, I never want anybody to have that experience.
But they never asked you to leave. You left on your own. When you
Of the
stayed with
places,
friends,
yeah, I left on my own.
Okay.
I left on my own.
Well, it's saddening. It's heartbreaking to hear stories like this. I mean, even though that people are from the same island as yourself, it's sad to know that people treats people in that way. And I must say that you're very strong to withstand all these and still come out on top. So,
Thank God. Hadn't for God.
thank you.
Hadn't for God.
Yeah, God is in everything.
Yeah.
So we thank you for coming on the show, and we hope everything works in your favor, and the best of all.
Thank you for having me.
Unspoken Travels, we going our way.